Hello everyone, it's Ghost here and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Creative, in which today, inspired by a comment that was left on one of my videos recently, which you can see on screen now, Mangrove is a very intense block. It's a very bright colour and there's not really many blocks that work with it well. Because as we discovered, while it does look okay next to andesite, it's not the most amazing either. So today, we're going to see, can we fix that? And we're probably going to keep experimenting with this because I'm determined to find something clever than. So, today's block palette is going to include mangrove, obviously, and mud, because what other bricks did it come with when it was released into Minecraft? Mud. So we're going to see, does that work with mangrove? Because I really want to be able to include a softer red texture into my build. Is that the right word? Probably. Because I don't really want to use concrete and terracotta all the time. I mean, we use it for giant boxy builds like the aquarium, but I don't think it would look as good on lots of houses. I mean, there's some cases it could, but I think like a red concrete's too bold and I want to be able to use the red of mangrove. As always, we're also experimenting to see if we can change the block palette of another village build, and this is the tannery from the plains biome, I think. I don't know, go check out the Minecraft wiki and you can probably work it out for yourself. So, trying to do the roof on this build was horrible. I hate doing roofs, and I really hate ones that are really confusing. Like this one, yay! Because it had like a weird shape to it, and just trying to get everything to work correctly. It's not correct to the build, but it's close enough I can't be asked to go and fix it. Which probably isn't the attitude to have, but if I'm being completely honest, do I want to spend forever trying to fix a roof? No. So, if you do end up getting this far into the video and you are enjoying seeing me try and figure out how to use roofs correctly for a start, and also work out, can I use this block palette, or is this block palette doomed? Make sure to like and subscribe, because we're doing plenty of these videos at the minute, because we have loads of spaces to fill before we can really add any more big builds, because we need like houses and stuff to kind of bulk out the area a bit, because we've been working on this area since November last year. We stopped in December for Christmas builds, but I never really put in many houses, because the interesting stuff to me was things like libraries, aquariums, the Taskmaster house. The Taskmaster house was probably my favourite one to build, even though it's the most annoying. And the house interior isn't correct. I just tried to make sure it was like to scale with the rest of the builds. That's one of the difficult things. Trying to get builds of like buildings from real life into Minecraft within the scale that you use and everything else is really difficult. And yes, in theory, what I could start doing is looking to download a mod to give me smaller bricks. But I also want to just use plain old vanilla Minecraft, because I want to make sure these builds are like replicable for people. So, if I've got the blocks around the correct way overhead, the mud is being used where cobblestone would be used. And it has a similar texture. That's one thing I like about it. It's like a warmer version of cobblestone, whereas deep slate is quite a dark one, and deep slate just, I like it. It looks good on floorings. It looks good in builds that, like, for Halloween builds in particular, it looks really good. But I think it has to go with a warm tone, and it doesn't work so, because you've got to kind of try and balance out the warm tones and the cool tones some of the time in the Minecraft builds, especially because like I'm putting in trees and stuff. The spruce trees, and because we're in tiger biome, they all go into a really cold block palette, so you have to offset it somehow. But in this case, we kind of have two warm tones together, and that looks good. Whereas when you do the warm tone and a really light cool tone, or a really dark cool tone with a mangrove, it just doesn't look right. And I don't know what it is. It just doesn't. It's like if you warmed the greys up on the andesite, it probably would have looked better. Whereas here, the mud is meant to go with it because they belong to the same biome. Which probably explains why the andesite doesn't work. Because can you find andesite in swamps? Yeah, I think you can if you dig down. But it's not physically on display with them. Oh, I'm trying to figure out an interior for this house, because I wasn't putting in another cauldron, because we have 3 cauldrons outside. I put in a little mangrove sprout thing in a plant pot. I think that looks cute, honestly. But just trying to find a way to lay out the inside of this house, because it's only 2 blocks wide, whereas some of the other ones we've done are 3 or 4, and when they're like that, there's more space and more freedom. You can see next to it the other attempt of using Mangrove, so I think we'll probably not use Mangrove for a couple of episodes now. I flew up, looked around, tried to just get an idea of what everything was looking like. I think it's looking cool. We're really starting to fill out the area now. I think this is where I probably got summoned to watch part of the King's Coronation. It was boring. I didn't really care about it. I only was there to look at the embroidery. I was just like, okay, run to the room next door, look at the TV. Yeah, cool, that's pretty. Goodbye. I had to cut out something like 30 minutes from this episode of footage that obviously it then gets chunked down and stuff, because I forgot to hit stop recording, because I didn't realise I was going to be sitting like 30 minutes of staring at the screen. That wasn't fun. I've added flowers in now on the build, and we're trying to keep it in kind of the reddy orangey block palette to try and pull the mangrove in with the rest of the builds around it. Theoretically, another path is going to have to go in at some point. I then added like a little garden on the side of the house because we want to make sure people can get their food. At some point, we're going to build a market, but we did one back in December, so we might do one next month. Or at the end of this month. Probably not for a couple of episodes at least, because I want to try and make sure we're not doing samey builds like markets and stuff every few months. I guess it's nearly been 6 months now though since we built that, so we could get away with it. Maybe we'll do a market next time. Actually no, there's a couple of pre-filmed videos, but I'll see you soon on the internet. Goodbye.